Hello, JPU family. Welcome to another episode.
The case has been ongoing since 2012 when the DPP ruled that three soldiers, Lance Corporals Greg Tingling and Odell Buckley, as well as Private Arnold Henry, be charged for Mr. Clarke's murder. The businessman was shot 21 times inside his home located on Kirkland Close in St. Andrew on March 27, 2010 during a police military operation to apprehend then-fugitive drug lord Christopher Dudas Coke. The murder trial was first set to start in 2018, but lawyers for the Jamaica Defence Force surprised prosecutors with immunity certificates that shielded the soldiers from prosecution for their actions during the operation. The certificates were signed in February 2016 by then National Security Minister Peter Bunting. The certificates were challenged in the Constitutional Court, which ruled that they were not valid. The Court of Appeal overturned that decision, but ordered that before a trial of the matter, a judge must determine whether prosecutors can rebut them.
So guys, this is an update in the case of Clarke, the accountant who was taken out by the Jamaica Defence Force as they claim they were on a quest to find Christopher Dudas Coke when he was wanted. Mr. Clarke is the uncle of the current Finance Minister, Nigel Clarke. The update is that the media is being locked out of the case. There is a news report that came out on July 18, 2024, which is titled Security Lockout, Media Barred from Sitting of Clarke Murder Trial Because of National Security Concerns. Now guys, I'm going to read you the article and I am going to make a commentary on it because this is unbelievable. So according to the Jamaica Observer, the trial of three members of the Jamaica Defence Force charged with the 2010 murder of businessman Clarke continued in the Home Circuit Court in downtown Kingston on Wednesday, with members of the media locked out. When inquiries were made as to why the media was barred, the Jamaica Observer was told that there was a risk of national security secrets being revealed to the public. Quote, "It's because issues of national security were being discussed," unquote, a Observer source explained. In the witness box on Wednesday was Brigadier Williams of the Jamaica Defence Force, who has been on the stand since Tuesday when he had began his testimony detailing how certain events unfolded on May 27, 2010. Which was the day accountant Clarke was fatally shot at his house at 18 Kirkland Close in Red Hills, St. Andrew. Clarke was shot inside his house more than 20 times, including in his back during a security force operation. The operation was reportedly aimed at capturing then-fugitive drug lord Christopher Dudas Coke, who was believed to have been hiding in Clarke's basement with 7 to 8 of his heavily armed henchmen. On trial for the murder in relation to the shooting death of Clarke are Lance Corporal Greg Tingling and Odell Buckley, as well as Private Arnold Henry. It was reported that then members of the JDF and the police arrived at the location. Gunmen engaged them in a fierce gun battle, which led to at least one soldier being injured. When the smoke cleared, only the accountant lay dead at the scene inside his master bedroom. On Tuesday, Brigadier Williams told the trial that the plan during the operation was to safely capture and detain Coke. Quote, "The soldiers who wore face masks during the time, they would have been responsible for securing Coke. We had a helmet and a vest to put on him to prevent him from getting injured, and then persons would guard him to the vehicle and then to where he was to be detained," unquote. Brigadier Williams shared that approval was given for soldiers to wear masks during the operation. Attorneys representing the three soldiers insist that instead of being allowed to safely apprehend Coke, the drug lord's heavily armed henchmen who were hiding out with him in the basement exchanged gunfire with the security forces before escaping in a heavily forested area at the back of Clarke's residence. Attorneys representing the soldiers assert that Clarke possibly fired his licensed weapon at members of the security forces. Brigadier Williams gave a blow-by-blow account on Tuesday of certain events leading up to and during the operation at Clarke's house. Quote, I had a troop deployed based on intelligence given at Park Camp. We engaged in battle procedure. There was a troop commander, but I was in charge of the troops. We received intelligence on the number of persons who we were seeking out, how they were armed, their morale, and how they were trained. Brigadier Williams said as he told the court that there were teams that left the military base for the location before his team. Quote, I remained at Park Camp and another team also remained behind. We were on duty, so we responded to an unfolding situation. Approximately 20 soldiers were deployed with me. I believe Lance Corporal Tingling was there with me, but at the time, I did not know who was on the ground with me. It was after the fact I knew who was there. I did not see who was on the convoy with me. There was no list with names of persons given to me. He told the court that on his way to the location, he could hear gunfire, and when he reached the location, he saw soldiers taking cover. Brigadier Williams said he was the highest-ranking member of the JDF at the location at the time. He told the court that an assessment was made that persons inside Clarke's house at 18 Kirkland Close could have been held hostage, and therefore efforts were made to cut their way through the front entrance grill and door of the house. Brigadier Williams said he received a report that soldiers were fired upon from inside the house and that an injured person was escorted from the location. Quote, they used a power saw to gain entry. When they were using the power saw, I was behind cover nearer to the gate. After a couple of seconds, I heard firing, similar to what you'd hear in training. I went into the living room and saw two ladies, and a policeman told me that someone was shot and injured downstairs or within the house. I don't believe I saw any of the accused men in the house, he said. He told the court that soldiers on his team received approval to wear balaclava mask during the operation. Quote, I went outside and called my Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Stuart Saunders. We departed the location and another group of soldiers took over the location. I am unable to say if any of the accused persons departed the location with me. Approval was given for my group to wear the mask by the Chief of Defense Staff, unquote. So guys, I just read you that article to give you context of what last took place in court to see if there's a justification for the media in Jamaica to be locked out of the trial. Guys, if you follow this platform, you will know that I have said from the beginning that anything that Peter Bunting is involved with, it is tainted, it is fraudulent, and it is crooked, and nobody should trust him. And I say that without reservation. The reason why I did not make any reservation in saying what I said about Bunting and this case is because, first of all, when Mr. Clarke was killed, it was 2010. PNP wasn't even in government at that time. It was the JLP who was in government. And Bunting was not the security minister. So, if Bunting was not the security minister and had nothing, absolutely nothing, to do with anything related to the situation that took place 2010, why is it that Bunting took it upon himself to give the soldiers so-called immunity certificates. He had nothing to do with it. Now, after giving the certificates, the wife, the widow of Mr. Clarke, went to court about it, and the court ruled that it was illegal and unconstitutional for Bunting to give those so-called immunity certificates after the soldiers were charged and to be prosecuted. That does not happen. So Bunting basically has a complete and total disregard of the prosecutor's office and the course of justice. That alone should tell us that justice is being infringed upon by Peter Bunting, right? And for the fact that the court ruled that his certificates were illegal, we should want to see transparency as this case is on trial. Now, guys, I am not commenting on whether Dodos and 8 men were in Mr. Clarke's basement. That should all be played out in court, and a jury should decide the final outcome. The defense is saying that they got intelligence that Dodos and the men were there, and the prosecution and the family members of Mr. Clarke are saying that they're not aware of nothing like that. So basically, the evidence have to be put forward in the court, and, a jury will decide how it comes down. But the problem that I have with this is, where else in the world, in the civilized world, do you see 3 law enforcement agents are charged for homicide of a civilian, and the court is going to go ahead and lock out the media? Where does that happen? I can give many examples of situations like that in the US, because you know that there have been many circumstances where police and civilians in entanglement, right? Case in point, the situation with George Floyd and those policemen. There was no media lockout. You don't do that. You allow the process to be transparent, and so that people can have faith both in the process and faith in the law enforcement agency, which is the Jamaica Defense Force. So what is happening in Jamaica now with this media lockout? They need to stop it. They need to stop it and embrace transparency. I see the Press Association of Jamaica, they are doing a poor job. They need to dismantle, and they need to go in the rubbish bin, and them need to form a new press association, because them not make no sense. All them do I have these award ceremonies. I give journalists award, I give this award, that the award. But all people like Dean Jackson Miller will come out here or come talk about one civil case between Dayton and Campbell, one of the worst politicians in Jamaica, and 3 women. She come out here, come analyze that. Why she don't go and do some protest and gather the rest of journalists them? She's a former president of the Press Association. Why she don't gather the journalists them in the country to go protest against the court system and the justice system in Jamaica to stop from lock out the journalists them out of some serious court cases of national concern? We no business what they want about national security and state secret. We no business with that. We already know what the situation was with Dodos and everything. You understand? But this case here needs transparency. What are they hiding? What are they covering up? Nothing is there to hide and cover up. You understand? So this needs redress. The Press Association at this time, it is their duty to stand on righteousness and principle and say to the judicial system in Jamaica, what you guys are doing is wrong. This should not become a habit in Jamaica where anytime courthouse feel like it, them can lock out media. No. That should not happen. So let us see If people like Dion Jackson Miller and the rest of so-called journalists, come don't tell you already, so me not no faith in a journalist of Jamaica again, The good journalists, them dead off and gone. And them here 1 year with the boy now. All them do a text it pan blogger, vlogger, and run up their mouth and text it pan people who in a prison and then sitting there. Because they feel like the people now can angle them up. You understand? So angle up Dion with there. Dion forgot do some constructive work to protect freedom of press in a Jamaica. Hey guys, make sure you're keeping it locked here to Jamaica Politics University, where you get all the political news, reviews, and updates. The best. Make sure you are tuning in to our live broadcast Monday through Fridays at 7 p.m. Jamaica time. And guys, be sure to subscribe, turn on your notification so that you get every upload that we do here on this channel. Tell your friends about this channel. Make them come over here, come hang out with us. See you in the next video, guys. Take care.